My name's Sam Downie. I'm going to do a brief talk about epilepsy. So it's a personal talk, also which talks about data. And I thought I would like to just give you, well, first of all, give you some information, how to contact me. I tweet a lot on Twitter. But if you want to follow my epilepsy story, then I blog about it on my website or at Deep Sounds. I also run a local group called Bristol Epilepsy, which is supported by North Bristol NHS Trust. And they're also on Twitter as well as Bristol Epilepsy. And currently, the group Bristol Epilepsy is in the Bristol Post Airbus Awards. And if you want to vote for us, buy a Bristol Evening Post, and you'll find the voting slip in there, and the voting code for it is 1010. That'd be really good. And you can continue voting for the next 3 weeks or so in the Evening Post. So, epilepsy and me. I'm a technology reporter for BBC World Service, that's radio, for 2 weekly technology programmes for Click and Tech Tent. Tech Tent is done by Rory Helen-Jones from the business department for BBC News. So with them, I talk about technology, health news, health technology, applications, software, gadgets, and including I've done lots of stories on Bristol technology as well, including a few on space. Those are archived on the websites for Click and Tech Tent, and you'll find the podcasts available as well, so free downloads. I'm an occasional reporter from MacBreak Weekly, another technology program, broadcast live on a website, so they're in the USA. I call them via Skype, and you can follow them at twit.tv, TWI.tv. Twit stands for This Week in Technology, because they're a technology news network. I'm a researcher myself in health, background from Bristol University. I look at apps and customer service, to data protection, because data protection is very important, and I scrutinise projects and organisations, including the NHS. So right now, I'm working with an organisation called Med Confidential, and they are looking at health protection for all of us and how our data is being shared with all different organisations outside of the NHS, and how quite a lot of it at the moment is not being protected. I'm also a skeptic. I'm an investigative researcher, reporter in health, and you might notice, I'll write down, I work with Bristol skeptics in the pub, and you'll find them with monthly meetings at the Smoke and Mirrors pub, just behind the Hippodrome. And they do some really, really great talks with the help of Bristol University lecturers and lecturers from outside. And it's all about science, technology, and looking at things, telling the truth mostly. So 65 million people are affected by epilepsy worldwide. In the UK, that's 1 in 103 people have epilepsy. Epilepsy is not rare. It's a number of people with MS, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and cerebral palsy combined. You'll find most of the promotion and publicity around, for example, Alzheimer's for dementia. People are concentrating on that a lot. But if you look at the the things which I mentioned, you'll see there's more people with epilepsy are affected than people with Alzheimer's. It can occur as a single condition, or maybe seen with other conditions affecting the brain, such as cancer. Yes, you can die from epilepsy, a condition called SUDEP. SUDEP is an acronym, stands for Sudden Unexplained Death from Epilepsy. And that's caused from breathing or having a slight heart attack when you're sleeping. And of course, there's no cure for that. There's nothing to stop it. If you want more facts, go to the website epilepsysociety.org.uk and learn from that. There's also first aid instructions for people if you want to learn more about epilepsy. For me, I'm wearing this little thing, which is a medical alert bracelet. Paramedics, there's a little symbol on the back of it. Paramedics know that I have a medical condition, and they'll open this up. It has a tiny little piece of paper on it, and it says, I have epilepsy. these are the medications which I take. So now they'll know what to do with first aid. This is my brain. This is a recent brain scan I've had. Let me talk to you in detail. I put on some arrows. I can show you this in close-up later. But where these arrows are, 3 areas of where I have parts of my brain which are causing epilepsy. And the surgeons have told me that they can't do any surgery to remove these spots on my brain. So I am stuck with it, and I will die with it. So I had a misdiagnosis in 2002 as anxiety, recognised seizure in 2004. I've had lots of tests, MRI, functional MRI EEG, video EEG, and all my early tests shows I had normal results. I changed to epileptologists, which are specialists in epilepsy. In September 2015 last year, I got sent to London to go through more tests. So here's me wired up, having a video EEG, and I've got to do a couple of more of these in London this year over a period of 2 and 3 weeks stays within the hospital. These are uncomfortable because you had to be stayed and wired up in a single room. So this is kind of what I also looked like as well. This is the EEG pickup, what it picks up from your scalp. So something else, I'm skipping this bit. Something else which I'll tell you about, I talk about awareness a lot about epilepsy from living with it. I got involved with a day called Epilepsy Awareness Day in California, which brought together lots of surgeons and neurologists and also patients and families together. There's a website called epilepsyawarenessday.org. It's held at Disneyland, which is the original Disneyland park in California. And so in 2003, I went to the first one. In 2004, I was back again. I made a film. I made several. This is the publicity for it. We got T-shirts, purple T-shirts, which everybody wore. There was over 2,000 to 3,000 people which attended. So if you imagine this whole park covered in purple T-shirts, everyone talking about it. People with epilepsy, patients, their families, and also some seizure dogs as well. So these are alert dogs which can pick up people who have seizures. This is me doing an interview. And if you want to watch the video and the film, then it's on YouTube, and I will put these in the notes for you to view on YouTube. If you want to search for Epilepsy and Me, Sam Downie on YouTube, you'll also find it, and the other Disneyland films I made. So these are awareness films and interviews with neurologists and also patients. If you want to see the film itself, it's being shown in Bristol at a Cube Cinema on the 20th of March as part of the Bristol Science Film Festival and Science Week as well. There's going to be lots of science events taking place. So I'll wrap up with that. And it's just, I thought I'd just tell you a brief why it's important to talk about this simple thing like epilepsy, but it's a huge amount of data that's with any medical condition. And a couple of things which I mentioned was the MRI scan and EEG. All these get shared. And at the moment, there are problems with hospitals getting that information and trying to share that data. So that's one thing which I'm also, at the moment, I'm trying to fix. I just wonder whether some of you might have some ideas on how to fix with that data sharing. Okay, thank you.